What's going on? Day three, four? I don't know. I've been live a lot recently. Oh man, gonna give people a quick chance to get on here live. Today, I'm gonna tell you guys some fun stories. Oh, I don't have my expo marker like I usually do. All right, check this out. There, now I've got a small expo marker. I've been playing with expo markers when I talk for some reason, so it's only appropriate, right, that I have it. Um, Today, well, we got a lot of people jumping on quick. Cool. Today I want to talk about a tough day that I had yesterday. My blood sugars were not ideal, and I'll tell you what led into that. I don't know why this happened. I literally haven't experienced this like ever. I don't know. Maybe when I was a baby, I didn't sleep, but 2 nights ago, I was laying in bed for hours and hours and hours and could not sleep. I was up until, hey, Tanya, good to see you on here. I was up. Hey, Bren says I have to wear blue tomorrow. For sure. Good reminder. Everybody wear blue. Tomorrow is World Diabetes Day, which is also part of the reason why I'm doing this live right now. Got something fun for you guys at the end. But man, 2 nights ago, I did not fall asleep until 6 o'clock in the morning. What? I know. This is ridiculous because usually my bed hits the pillow, I'm out. I can fall asleep in like 5 minutes or less. I was up until 6 o'clock in the morning, just tossing and turning, could not sleep. It was super frustrating. I'll be honest with you, I had a few thoughts enter my mind about my pump because on my pump, my basal rates changed during the night. And they changed because of my sleeping schedule, right? Like you all know, we're on a very specific schedule with our brains, which is why traveling in time zones can get a little bit messy with blood sugars because we have hormones released different times of the day. That being said, I'm getting to like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, shoot, man, my basal rates double at 5 a.m. I don't know what's going to happen. This is interesting, right? We're going to see what happens to my blood sugars if I'm still awake when my blood sugar, I mean, when my basals double. Side note, I was getting super hungry too, like 4 or 5 in the morning, because I've been awake for 20 hours at that point. Anyways, long story short, I got 2 hours of sleep that day, and not ideal for like anybody, right? I've noticed for myself that I function, or I can function on 4 hours or more. So if I get 4 hours, I know I can still have a relatively normal day. I usually aim for about 7 or 8. I should probably get 8 or 9, right? That would be better for me. But realistically, I work a lot and I enjoy what I do, so it's hard for me to justify going to bed when I can help people. As a diabetic health coach and fitness coach, I love doing what I do, and so I sometimes sacrifice sleep for that. But that being said, I did not sacrifice sleep that night. I watched a nice TV show before bed, tried to relax, and some reason I didn't get to sleep till 6 a.m. 2 hours of sleep. Guess what I had the next morning? I wake up to go to my endo appointment. Oh, what? The one time that I can't fall asleep until 6 a.m., I get 2 hours of sleep. And of course, with that little sleep, it's going to have an impact on blood sugars, right? So, wake up, I'm at 170. I'm like, okay, today's going to be different. This is not fun. Hey, Kyle, good to see you. Yeah, not ideal. So I wake up 170, I pre-bolus, I wait to eat my breakfast, and I do everything that I'm supposed to do. But as many of us know, if you start the day with a higher blood sugar than normal, it's going to be more difficult to stay in range, at the very least for the first half of your day. But I want to tell you guys a little bit about how I not only eventually got back into range, but also how I kept it in range the rest of the day. So had that breakfast, and ultimately I had to get out the door, had to go to my endo appointment, and don't want to be late to that, don't want to miss it, especially because with mine I only go like once or twice a year, because I'm able to keep pretty darn good control of my blood sugars. So my endo's like, hey, you only need to come in every once in a while just so I can keep prescribing you insulin, but you got this thing. Anyways, I show up, she takes my insulin pump, downloads all the data, and she's like, oh my goodness, Matt, your numbers are incredible. These are the best numbers I've seen. I'm like, thanks. They were great up until today. And I'm like, don't look at my pump right now, please. Because I did not pre-bolus enough. I mean, I pre-bolused the heck out of my breakfast, but starting on a higher number, it was difficult to nail that down. And so, unfortunately, while I'm sitting with my endo, I'm watching my blood sugars go up and up and up. I hit 234. Granted, let me tell a quick backstory. In the parking lot, I noticed they were 185. I'm like, crap. They are not any lower than they were when I started this morning, and I pre-bolus. That means they're going to keep going higher. So in the parking lot, I had about 5 or 10 minutes before my appointment. I'm literally doing laps around the parking lot, lunges. I'm going up and down the stairs, doing side steps, jogs. Like, I look like just some random fitness fanatic. It's like, I have to work out or I'm going to die. So I'm running around the parking lot, getting some weird looks, but I'm like, you know what? I value my health. I need to do this to keep my numbers a little bit on the lower side. At the very least, they don't spike. I need to do this. And even with that exercise, I'm sitting with my endo and I checked. And I'm like, crap, I'm at 234 slanted up. I'm like, oh boy, this is a great way to start my endo appointment that I only see her like once or twice a year. She's going to judge the crap out of me. So I made a joke about it. I was like, don't check my numbers now. And she's like, you're fine. Like, I can see your averages. You're doing amazing. But by the time I get out of that appointment, I'm at 263. Oh, not ideal. So when I'm leaving the appointment, I already packed my gym stuff. I had planned on going to the gym afterwards anyways, but when you get to a certain point, you start to feel pretty crappy. Your blood sugar starts to take a toll on your physical health, and it becomes difficult to give your best self to the gym, if that makes sense. It's difficult to put yourself in a position where you're exerting all of your energy when you feel nauseous and sick. And so I put myself through a little bit of a formula, my own framework. And for those of you who knew, or not who knew, you were on my my live like a week and a half ago, or even the last couple of days, I've hinted at this framework that I use. And I'll give you an idea of it. But essentially, it's what I teach my clients. It's how I get them to stay in range for longer periods of time. It's how workouts don't have to have this massive impact on blood sugars if you do it properly. And a lot of people are afraid to exercise surrounding blood sugars because they're fearful of either a massive drop or a massive spike. And in some cases, they've seen both. Me personally, I used to struggle with that. I'd go to the gym on Monday. I'd see a massive spike halfway through my workout. I'd be really frustrated. Like, all right, I'm going to go home because I feel sick. I'll try again tomorrow. Tuesday comes. I do, similar workouts, and I have a massive drop. And I'm like, I can't figure it out. I'll try again the next day. Wednesday, you're getting ready to head out the door. And then that thought enters your head that's all too familiar, where you're thinking, is this even worth it? Why am I trying? My body is fighting me. I do all I can to get to the gym. And yet, even when I get there, my body fights me. And I have these massive fluctuations in my blood sugars. And it's super frustrating. But I'm here to tell you that all of that doesn't have to happen. You don't have to deal with these massive fluctuations. We've been lied to. There are ways to exercise and still maintain stable blood sugars. There's just a few rules you got to follow and a framework that you got to plug into, a nice formula. And the reason I know about this is for the last 2 years, I've spent a lot of time. I'll take that back. I spent all of my time experimenting on myself through trial and error, trying different diets, different types of exercises. I journaled on every single piece of information I could, and I finally found this framework. Now, part of the formula, I'll give you guys a little tidbit of information, is a few things you need to take into consideration when staying in range and getting off the blood sugar roller coaster. Because a lot of people, when they see a number like 263, right, that's pretty high. Not ideal, like I keep saying. I hate being that high. When you see that number, they oftentimes rage bolus. They will overcorrect, go low. Then what happens? Let's open it up for some comments. What do you guys think happens when you have a high blood sugar and you rage bolus and then you go low? What's typically the next step in there? I'm gonna look through the comments while we're waiting for this. Got to have some participation from you guys so I know you're listening in. We got some detailed questions. Okay. See, we got one that says hi again from R. Markfeld. Overeat from Melissa. Very common. Yeah, we eat the whole kitchen. Overcorrects from Goodyear. Overtreat from Melissa. Exactly. You can overeat and then go high from Queen Carolyn. You guys get it. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And in most cases, especially during the night, right, because we get nervous when we wake up low, you go and you eat the whole kitchen. I've been there. I I used to take advantage of those moments, honestly. I'd open up the fridge and go, oh, baby, what do I get to eat tonight? I go in there and get the ice cream sandwiches, and I make a whole bowl of cereal, and you get the whole kitchen, right? And you, for at least a little bit, you get to enjoy it. You're like, this is delicious. But then what happens? You overcorrect, you overtreat. You end up with a super high blood sugar, sometimes higher than you were to start with. You might start at 263, rage bullets, jump down to 40, and you're like, oh no, eat everything. And then it skyrockets to 350. You're like, how did this happen? I just made it way worse. And now I feel terrible again. And now I feel like I'm judging myself. And now I feel like I can't win and that my blood sugars are impossible to control. And you just start spiraling, right? And it's so frustrating. But there is a formula. And there's a few things that I want to give you to help you identify that formula. Now, the whole formula is for the people who are in my program. The beta testers who joined, they've got some fun lessons this week. We're going to go over and identify trends. We're going to be basal testing and bolus testing to identify exactly how much insulin you need. But we'll get back into that in a second. Batista, that's an amazing analogy. She says, like a basketball hitting the floor and coming so fast to your face. Yeah, I know. That's perfect. Queen Carolyn says aura can be a cycle. Absolutely. It can go high, rage bolus, low, overeat, high, rage bolus, low, and it just keeps going all day and all night. That's the blood sugar roller coaster we talk about. So I want to teach you how to step off the roller coaster when it's safe and let that roller coaster pass you right by and you stay on that steady lane, right? So a few of the things you want to take into consideration before you rage bolus. Number one, your current blood sugar. You guys can get your notepads out if you want. It's a good section for that. Number one is your current blood sugar. What number are you actually at? Have you tested? Testing your blood sugar, getting an accurate data point to start with, is an excellent place to start. That way you're not correcting blindly. Also something that I used to do. Not recommended. I used to go, oh, I feel like nauseous right now. I'm probably high. We'll just give a correction bolus. No. Know your blood sugar. Okay? Step two, your insulin on board or your IOB. In my case yesterday, I was 263, but I still had 0.8 units on board. What does that mean? That means there's still 0.8 units of insulin circulating through my body, which means there is a chance that that could also still affect my blood sugars and bring me lower than 263. So I might still drop down to 180 or something. So if I correct at 263 without taking into consideration the insulin on board, I might end up low. That's the rage bolus we're talking about, right? Exactly. Now, of course, I also had planned to go to the gym. What does that mean? Activities have impacts on our blood sugars, but it depends largely on what type of activity, okay? Now, I was planning on doing some running, but also some lifting. I know from my personal experience and from my frameworks that my runs typically drop me a certain amount of blood sugar points, right? And my lifting sessions might stabilize or even rise me. So with that in mind, I take into account the activity impact. Okay, the activity impact factor is essentially how much a certain activity is going to impact your blood sugars. I subtract that from my correction in addition to subtracting my insulin on board from my correction, taking into consideration my current blood sugar. Okay, now we also take into consideration the correction factor, treat factors, all that kind of stuff. And there's a few more points in that formula that I'm not going to give to you guys just yet, but those are your starting points. That is exactly how you figure out the starting point of what kind of a correction you're going to give. So in my case, with all of my percentages and in my formula inputs, I decided to give a 1.1 unit correction because, and I'm not telling you that's the correct amount for you because we all have different correction factors, right? We have different activity impact factors, all this kinds of stuff. But with that correction, with the activity in mind, with my insulin on board, with my current blood sugar, with the type of meal that I had beforehand, with all these different factors and inputs, I was able to determine how much insulin I needed to bring my blood sugar down at a safe rate while I exercised. Guess what my blood sugar was when I finished? I'm going to let you guys guess. If anybody gets it right, I'm going to shout you out on like Instagram story or something. I'll give you guys a quick second. I'll read through some comments while we wait. make sure I didn't miss anything important. I love having expo marker as a man now. This is my new habit. So guess what my blood sugar was at the end of my workout. I went for a run, then I lifted, and then I walked. Lots and lots of comments. Cool, cool, cool. All right, we got some guesses here. Oh, here's a question. I'll get to that first. What pump and CGM do you have? I have Dexcom for my CGM, and I have, let's see if I can get it up on screen, the Tandem T-Slim. The Tandem T-Slim pump, which is a super fun combo, and it's the only pump and CGM that I've ever had, so I can't give you a comparison, but at this point, with the improvements that they've both made, I have no complaints. I used to have complaints on the old Dexcoms, but they've improved, they've gotten incredible, and they're super cool. So let's see if anybody watched my stories and figured out what my blood sugars was, because I mentioned my blood sugars 2 days ago or yesterday. All right, so we got Good, you're saying 118, Batista saying 125, Addie saying 115, Queen saying 110, Addie 117. Some of you guys are guessing multiple times. Brent says 132, Carrie says 140, on Markfield 100, Bren 82. Great guesses. I'm gonna see who got the closest. Bren, you got the closest. You said 132, I ended at 130. How many of you think you can go through an exercise starting at 263 with insulin on board and end with a correction going through your system at 130? Does that sound insane, or do you guys realize that's possible now? Now that I've told you there's a formula for this stuff, do you think it's possible for you? Or is this just me? Am I just some magical anomaly? Who thinks it's possible for them? Oh, someone said, wait, hydration during exercise. Absolutely. I drink water all the time. Water is super important. Or maybe I'm misinterpreting your question, but yes, hydration during exercise is very important. It's hard to function without hydrating, especially during exercise, because you're sweating out a lot of liquid. Well, not liquid, but you get the idea. You made me thirsty. Okay, so Bren says yes. Yes, it is possible. Awesome, Bren. Glad you have confidence in yourself. Looks like not a lot of people have confidence in themselves, though, because we're not getting a whole lot of yes. There we go. Adi says possible if I start working out. Okay, yep, that would be a great place to start. We want to start with the workouts so we can test the theory, right? Okay. Batista says that water contributed in bringing blood sugar down. Water definitely helps. However, water alone will not bring blood sugars down. Water is a great facilitator. Water essentially allows the insulin to circulate better. Imagine trying to row a boat through a river of syrup versus a river of water. The water allows you to flow through a lot faster. Similarly, water allows the insulin to circulate through your body a lot faster, okay? It's a great way to do that, but it also helps you feel better because you feel super dehydrated when you're high. And Bautista says, yes, that is possible. Excellent. We got a lot of people saying it's possible. I'm so happy to see you guys believe in yourselves, just like I do. I believe in you too. But within that realm, I told you guys this formula, this framework is something that I discovered. It's not something that I was taught. It's something that I learned through trial and error. It's something that I had discussions with through my medical teams, through other professionals, and they were shocked that this is not common knowledge yet. They were blown away at how well it works, so much so that I've got some medical professionals that want to run clinical trials with me, which that would be super cool. Get this thing in some research journals. But before I'm putting it in research journals, before I'm letting this framework get out, I want to put it through my beta program, which is what I've been hinting at for a little while. But unfortunately, that beta program closed its doors about a week and a half ago. We launched it. We closed the doors. We got some cool people in there. They've got a fun week ahead of them. Like I said, first week, they're doing foundations. They're testing their basals and boluses. Super important to get that first step for all of you. I don't care if you're trying to be a physique bodybuilder, if you're trying to work in an office 9 to 5, or if you're trying to be a stay-at-home mom, you need to have your foundation set up properly. Your basals and your bolus rates need to be dialed in. If you're guessing 24/7, you are going to see more fluctuations than the average person. If you know what your basals and bolus rates should be, it's going to be a lot easier for you to identify fluctuations and patterns and areas for improvement, okay? Now, a brief history on how I figured this thing out, because I know that we got a lot of new followers with it being National Diabetes Awareness Month. Best month of the year! So fun to see everybody just obsessing with diabetes during November. It's like, serious, I look forward to it all year long. But I was diagnosed in the year 2009, the night before Christmas Eve. Not a fun way to bring in Christmas. The classic symptoms, I was peeing a lot to the point where I actually had to walk out of one of my finals in college. I was 19 years old. I had to walk out of my final knowing and being told that my teacher would fail me if I walked out that door because he was worried that I was going to go to the bathroom to cheat. When in reality, I was going to pee in my pants if I didn't get out of there. That would be an embarrassing college story that I wanted to avoid. And I said, you know what? I'm going to have to retake this class because I'm not going to pee my pants in the final. So I walked out, and it wasn't too long after that final that I found myself in the hospital. Super thirsty, peeing all the time. I thought I had a urinary tract infection. Of course, we all know those are classic symptoms for type 1 diabetes. I was diagnosed December 23rd, 2009. And initially, that diagnosis hit me pretty hard. I was embarrassed. I hid my disease. I told my family, but a lot of my friends didn't know that I had type 1. We'd go out to eat, and I'd run off to the bathroom to prick my fingers for the mealtime. I'd give my injection for the meal, and I'd run back out like nothing happened. I'd pretend that I didn't have diabetes because I didn't want to be seen as weak. I was already shy and insecure. I didn't want to have to deal with that. But on the inside, I was terrified. These doctors had told me that I was going to develop complications, that type 1 diabetics would not live a full life, and I had been fed all this misinformation by my doctors and ultimately failed by them. They didn't give me the proper medication initially. They sent me home with only half of the insulin that I needed to survive. No education on my diagnosis, and it was an embarrassment, honestly, for that hospital. But, over time, I stopped taking care of myself. I didn't check my blood sugar as often as I should. I moved across the country, and I can specifically remember a day. I was living in New York City, and my family is from California. My mom called me. She's checking up, seeing how her son was doing, and said, hey, so have you been testing your blood sugars? And on the phone, like, no. Why? She's like, well, I'm checking in on you. I'm like, honestly, I don't even know where my blood sugar tester is. Like, I don't check often enough to even know where it is. And, there's silence on the phone, and just, Matt, you need to take care of yourself. This disease is serious. And she didn't want to be overbearing. She was very good about being that supportive role in my life. She approached everything in love, and she knew that I was making my own decisions. But it took me some time to really learn to take care of myself until one day I came home from work. I remember the floor was kind of creaky. I was walking down the hallway, and I sat down on the couch, kind of bounced a little bit, and just exhausted from my day. I looked around, and there was no one else home, and I realized those doctors told me that if I didn't take care of my diabetes for 10 years, then I would have severe complications, blindness, lose an arm, lose a leg, kidney failure, organ failure, all kinds of different stuff that could eventually lead to death. I was like, shoot, man, 10 years. I'm almost at 5 years, and I know I have not been taking care of myself as well as I should be. That could mean that I'm halfway to a complication that I would be very, very sad to have. And I may have already caused irreversible damage. And so it was that day that I realized something, that if I didn't take a step to move forward that day, if I didn't make any movements toward taking better control of my diabetes, in that moment, I'd be headed down a path that I might not be able to walk back from. I'd be headed down a path that might lead towards death. At the very least, towards diabetic complications, and I was terrified of that. So I called up my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, and I had a conversation with her that was really important. I said, hey, I gotta start taking care of myself, and I need your help. I need your help to keep me accountable, because I am not great at testing my blood sugars. I don't take the time necessary to take care of myself. And she's like, okay, like I knew that you had type 1, and like I know it's important to take care of yourself, but like what can I do to help you? And I was like, honestly, just whenever you think about it, maybe every couple of days, just ask if I've been checking my blood sugar, because this needs to happen. And ultimately, I hear stories of people, clients that come to me and say, hey, Matt, how do I improve my blood sugar testing? And it's not a matter of me telling them to. I can tell you to check your blood sugars all day, but it's not until you have that same realization that I had that you need to. That's when you start making these changes that are necessary. And so, getting a little dry throat. And so it was that day that I realized I need to make a plan. I need to start taking care of my blood sugars, but I need to document. I need to figure out what's going on behind the scenes, right? How are my blood sugars impacted by exercise, by meals, by pre-bolusing, by drinking? I had drinks in New York, and I would wonder why my blood sugars were on the lower end whenever I drank. And so all of these new factors came through, but there was a conflict a little bit down the road when I got a CGM, and I realized there was a lot more fluctuation than I thought there was, right? And some of you who got a CGM for the first time recently, you know what I'm talking about, where you went from testing your blood sugars and seeing not so bad numbers to a Dexcom or a Freestyle Libre or something showing you that in between meals, you might be spiking to 300 or 400 and then coming back down. That was me. You might be having massive fluctuations in the gym. That was me. And so seeing all these numbers on my new Dexcom was like cool to see how that was being impacted, but it was also terrifying because I realized I do not have the control that I thought I did. So I had to revisit step one, document, test more often, see how I can control these blood sugars because they seem to be really difficult to control now that I have a better view of them. And so it was through that documentation, through my experimentation for 2 years that I discovered the new way of approaching this whole thing of diabetes management. That not only does it allow me to stay in range during and after exercise, but it allows me to run it on autopilot. I have these formulas now that I just plug my numbers into, and it does the math for me. There is no more guesswork. There's no more worrying about overcorrecting with a rage bolus. Everything is calculated for me because of the formula and the framework that I follow. And so it's only through that I've been able to gain the peace of mind back that I once had when I wasn't taking care of myself. Because I used to live in this ignorance is bliss lifestyle, right? And then all of a sudden I figured out that my blood sugars sucked and I was no longer blissfully ignorant. And so I had to learn to take control of my blood sugars, but I wanted to find a way to do so that wasn't going to ruin everything for me. I wanted to find a way to take care of my diabetes without obsessing over it. And that was a hard balance to find. So ultimately, it led me down a path of finding the framework, but the framework was the end piece. There was a better transformation that happened throughout that process. And that is that in the beginning, I told you, I was embarrassed of my diabetes initially. I hid it from everyone. I thought that it made me weak, but then I realized after finding this framework, after finding this community of all of you, amazing people online, that diabetes isn't something to be hidden. It's not something to be embarrassed about. It's something that I wear proudly. I show off my devices all the time now. I have conversations in the open, and I am proud of what diabetes has shown me. Because I will be completely honest with you. Without diabetes, I would not be as consistent as I am in the gym. I would not be as consistent as I am with eating healthy and meal prepping and going to bed on time. Diabetes has made me a healthier person. And I am so thankful that I'm able to see that positively now. Because I used to see diabetes as a weight on my life, and now I wear it as a badge of honor. I hope you guys do too. I know a lot of you are in the place that I used to be. I know that a lot of you are embarrassed of your diabetes. I know a lot of you are struggling with the fluctuations behind your blood sugars like I used to. A lot of you don't understand how to exercise properly with type 1 diabetes. And that's what I want to show you. That's why I created this whole platform. I'm here to make your life easier. I'm here to show you how to run your diabetes on autopilot. Because diabetes, our lives are stressful enough. We don't need the extra stress of diabetes, blood sugars, fluctuations, highs and lows. You deserve more than that. And I want to give that to you. So if you guys are okay, I want to share something cool. I've been hitting at this for a little while, but I want to share a secret opportunity, a special opportunity with you guys that we didn't even think we were going to be giving out until recently because, World Diabetes Day. It's a time to celebrate. So if you guys are cool with it, I need some yeses in the comments before I move forward. I want to make sure you're okay with me sharing this this new opportunity with you guys. Let me know. Let me know in the comments. I'm going to go through the comments real quick right now too and see what else we got in here. We got some clapping emojis. Thanks, Christina. Got some questions on the Facebook Live. And Goodyear says yes. Christina says yes. And Goodyear says please. Batista says yes. Got some awesome commenters in here. Bren says his Dexcom went off at 300 in class. That's a bummer. That's sometimes CGMs get a little annoying, especially when we're out of range, right? And they beep forever. Let me open these comments, see what else we got in here. Oh boy, tons of yeses. Okay. Batista, Queen says yes. Cash says yes. Drew says yes. Marta says yes, please. All right, guys. So we launched something a week and a half ago. You've heard me talk about it a few times before. It's our newest program. And it's so new that we haven't officially released the name of the program yet because we want help naming it. It's that new. It's a beta program. Beta essentially means the program has been built out. I'm gonna show you guys the framework. You ready? Did you read all of it? How about not? Ready? Whoop. That is the skeleton of the program. As you can see, there's a lot going into it, and that's why I'm holding the purple marker. We have some beta group testers already in there, and that is what their next 8 weeks look like. It's an 8-week program to take you from wherever you're at now to automating diabetes, especially during exercise. Exercise is a tough spot for a lot of people. So we've had programs in the past that are meant to help you learn how to eat healthy and exercise and get the healthy habits flowing and to take care of yourself and make your health a priority. This program aims at one single goal, one specific goal, and that is how to stay stable and in range with your blood sugars during and after exercise. It's the single most question we get asked. Everyone wants to know, how do I avoid dropping to 40s and 30s during exercise? How do I avoid hitting 300, 400 post-exercise? How can I stay stable and in range? Is it impossible? You guys, you mentioned in the comments already, you understand that it is possible for you, which is a very exciting place to be. When you understand that something is possible, you're able to grow and you are able to achieve it. So I'm going to tell you, it is possible. I have achieved it. The clients that I've coached through this process so far have achieved it. They've achieved massive results. And for World Diabetes Day, for the week, man, I'm so excited about this. I can't even contain it. We decided to reopen the beta launch program for the next 24 hours. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what that includes, what it looks like, and how you can get in. Essentially, a beta program means that the skeleton, right, that whiteboard flash I just showed you, the skeleton, the frameworks are all built out. I've taken people through it, and it works. But the first group that goes through gets to give feedback, and they get a lot of hands-on coaching with me. So groups in the future, they're going to get that 30,000-foot view where I'll still be in there coaching every once in a while. But the beta launch group, you're getting direct contact with me. Like, this is some serious results coaching stuff. I will be walking with you hand in hand, guiding you through every step of the way, answering all of your questions, going live, doing coaching calls, adjusting the program to fit your specific needs through customization. This is something that no other group will get. For anybody who went through our beta launch of Thrive with Diabetes, our program last year, they can tell you it gets real personalized. And some might even say it's intense because we get some serious results. I put you through a lot of work, but you come out the other end shocked at how well your diabetes is managed and how much less you're thinking about it and worrying about it. It's a really cool process. So for those who are ready for intense coaching, hands-on, hand-in-hand guidance through the program, through the framework, and you're ready to get your hands on that formula I was talking about, the rest of the pieces that I didn't talk about just yet, that's who this is for. And I'm not talking about exercise and stable blood sugars in the gym only. As you well know, there's a lot of things that affect our blood sugars, right? It's not just going to the gym and weightlifting. It's not just going for a run. It's doing chores around the house. It's running errands throughout the day. It's cooking dinner. Drop my pen. It's doing all sorts of stuff. They all have a massive impact on blood sugars, and it can be really frustrating sometimes. But the formula is what we use to stay stable through all activities. So I want to make it clear. Yes, this is primarily for exercise. However, we also show you how to stay stable through any activity-based event. If that makes sense. So if that makes sense, let me know in the comments. I want to make sure I'm not confusing you guys. But exercise does not, or movement, exercise, activities, that's not just the gym. Does that make sense? It's more along the lines of different things that cause blood sugar fluctuations outside of food. Now, we also talk about food. In fact, you know what? We got some yeses coming in. Cool. I'm glad that makes sense. I'm going to go over the framework of the program and let you guys know a little bit more about what it includes, as well as the 8 weeks of lessons. But like I said, it's a beta launch program, which means that if this needs tweaking, there will be tweaking. Let me explain that better. If there are lessons that need to be added in because you guys find it useful for me to add that coaching in, it gets added in. There will be new lessons that get added in to help you achieve your goals. So if you're like, Matt, I want to lose fat. I want to get in the gym and figure out how to lose weight that I haven't been able to lose for years because my trainers in the gym aren't diabetic. They don't get it, right? They're putting me through all these programs that cause massive fluctuations and I have to eat a whole bunch of sugar. I can't lose the weight. Matt, how do I do this? Good news. I'm a certified trainer and nutritionist and type 1 diabetic. I will guide you through that and likely add that in as a bonus. You know what? I think I am going to add that to this list. We're going to add a new bonus. Cool. I like it. Good job, crew. I'm adding in the fat loss bonus right now. Boop. That's why I carry this pen around. All right. So another program includes fat loss for type 1s as well. See what I'm saying? Beta launch programs are the most exciting time to get into a program because you get hands-on customization direct from me. Now, I'm going to read through what we got in here. Week 1, foundation. You go over basal testing, bolus testing. It's critical that you nail down exactly how much insulin you need, and I show you how to do that. We're also going to teach about documentation, because if you're not documenting, you have no idea what's going on. You're going to have a hard time finding the trends and patterns in your life. Week 2, cardio. We talk about the activity impact. Remember I talked about that in my formula about 10 or 15 minutes ago? There's a specific formula for figuring out how much you will drop, whether you have insulin on board or not, with cardio. That way you can plan ahead and adjust your correction factor based on that. What? I know, super exciting. I'd much rather you figure out how to exercise correctly and not have to treat in the gym than have to go into the gym knowing you're going to have to drink a full Gatorade just to stay above 70, right? There are ways to stay stable so you don't have to worry about correcting nonstop every day. Now, you're still going to need to correct every once in a while. You might overshoot a correction accidentally, have some glucose tabs on hand. I always carry sugar with me, no matter what. Even if I'm at 200, 250, I carry sugar just in case. Very important to have that. But understanding the activity impact is going to be critical if you understand how to stay stable. Week 3, resistance, lifting heavy. HIIT exercises, understanding these may stabilize or rise, but how much are they going to cause a rise? We get into that and give you the formula for that as well. Week 4, most people's favorite week is my adapters formula. It is the specific type of exercise for type 1 diabetics to maintain stable blood sugars throughout their workouts. It's the exact formula that I use for my daily workouts. And of course, I will be giving you workouts as well. Being that I'm a trainer, what kind of program would it be if I didn't create a workout for you? So in the adapters workout, I show you exactly how you can exercise and still achieve your goals while maintaining stable blood sugars during and after exercise. Super exciting. That was my mind-blowing moment in the last 2 years when I figured out my adapters formula, because I've mentioned this a few times before. I usually finish exercises between 100 and 120. And that has been such a weight lifted off of my shoulders in my life, being able to predict my blood sugars after workouts because of the adapters formula. Okay, I'm going to geek out on that, like way too much, so I'm going to stop talking about it. We got another question. Steph, does your program beta course support T1D trying to gain weight? Absolutely. That was actually my biggest difficulty a couple years ago. I wanted to gain some muscle, and it is tough to do with type 1 diabetes, but it is not impossible. We actually have 2 clients in the beta course right now who are in there to gain muscle with type 1. So yes, to answer your question, it is for anyone surrounding exercise and blood sugars, whether it's to lose fat, to build muscle. I'll show you exactly how to do it. And in week 1, we've actually got a calorie counter as well, a formula we developed that surrounds your blood sugars. It's not just a normal calorie calculator. It incorporates macros into there as well. And speaking of, well, we'll get into that one later. There's a really exciting bonus. Week 5, solos framework. If you're like, Matt, I want to run a marathon. How do I do it? Use the SOLOS framework. This is how you need to prepare for a specific activity, whether it's insulin on board or a snack beforehand or certain little factors that go into stabilizing during specific workouts. Marathoners, if you want to be a bodybuilder competitor, there are certain formulas you need to follow, certain actions to take beforehand in preparation to stabilize. So that's week 5. It's a good one. Week 6, this is the bonus I was talking about. Week six is your personalized macronutrient profile. And I keep looking down because I got the whiteboard. Whoop. Got this thing, and it is full of goodies. So week 6, personalized macronutrient profile. We've got a dietitian who is also a type 1 diabetic that is currently creating your meal plans. What? There are 3 different macronutrient profiles. Each of them lead to stable blood sugars pre, during, and post meal. Okay? You get to pick. We figured out which one fits in your lifestyle and your goals the best, and you get to select which one you want. There is no one way that diabetics need to eat. There are different categories, but if you're like, Matt, I have to eat this certain way, I feel best with this. Great, I will help guide you down that path. Now we've also got explanation on macros, how different macros affect blood sugar. I do a brief lesson on nutrition since I got my history in nutrition as well. We have our calorie intake calculator surrounding diabetes. Week 7, avoiding the blood sugar roller coaster. Oh man, that's a big deal for a lot of people. And within that, we also teach about exercise over insulin, which is my personal favorite. That's the easiest way to get over the blood sugar roller coaster, but there's a few tweaks in there as well we go into. And then week 8, testing phase. This is where you figure out if everything you've learned is dialed in properly, and if not, we can go back and revisit previous phases. That is the framework of the program. Like I said, it's a beta group, which means you guys will be building it out as we go with me. If you're like, Matt, I wish that you just had like a single small lesson on this one thing. I'd be like, hey, cool, great idea. I'm going to add that in tomorrow. See you in the lesson, and we go over those things together. Now, there is what is it? Today is Wednesday, right? Yeah. So today's Wednesday, and ultimately, this opening for the beta group, it closed a week and a half ago. But like I said, being it is World Diabetes Day tomorrow, we're going to open it up. So that is open. My computer's freezing right now. Okay, it's not going to work. But I was going to try and show you guys what the order form looked like and show you how to get into it. So if you guys have questions on that whole process, I want to invite you to shoot me a DM, shoot me a message, comment. Actually, don't comment because then it will be difficult to get back to you after the live's over. Shoot me a DM. Let me know what questions you have. If you are ready to jump in, then we have a page for you. Here it is Thursday. Oh, Vincent. Okay, so it's Thursday where you're at. I'm in California. So wherever you're at, this window of opportunity is open for about 24 hours. And after that point, the doors will close again. Man, I wish my computer would not be like broken right now. Okay, so like I said, about 24 hours until this opportunity is closed off for the beta group. With that being said, the program will open again in the future, but the price will be doubling. So right now, it's staying at the beta price in celebration of World Diabetes Day during my favorite month of the year, because November is just full of awesome diabetics. And I'm going to go through some frequently asked questions that we got from last time when we were going through the beta. See if we have questions in the comments. I found out last week that Instagram doesn't let you go live for over an hour. So I was like mid-sentence and it cut me off. So I'm going to try and be aware of that. I think we got like 10 minutes left. Okay, looks like we got most of these people saying awesome. And Goodyear says, are you based in San Diego? I am currently based in LA. I was in San Diego yesterday. All my family's down there, so I head down there a lot. But my wife is actually in grad school, which is why we've been kind of bouncing around back and forth. And she's finishing up her clinicals right now for occupational therapy. So once she finishes that, we're hoping to end up in San Diego. A little tangent there, but we shall see. All right, my laptop's being silly. So, okay, we got some questions coming in now. Here we go. Okay. Stress is a major trigger. My blood sugar spikes during this IG live. Have your sugar rises. How do you deal with stress? Yes, so stress is definitely going to impact blood sugars. Most people it causes a rise, and that's super frustrating because, oh, that's why my computer wasn't working. Figured it out. Stress, in most cases, the cortisol release in your body causes a blood sugar spike. Super not fun, right? So in some cases, people would just give a correction beforehand. We had a literal rock star client. She was an actual rock star. She went on stage. She noticed that she would oftentimes spike during her concerts, and we used the formula. We figured out exactly how much insulin she needed to take beforehand, gave her a temp basal percentage, and since that moment, she's been rocking on, like literally. It's amazing. She used to finish her concerts at like 250 or 300. Now she stays in range every single time. And it's just magical to see these formulas work so well for so many people. So stress, yes, it is. It will cause blood sugars to rise, but there are ways to combat that and different ways to proactively make those decisions. So it makes it a lot easier. Let's see what we got in here for the frequently asked questions. I had some that popped up before. What makes this program different than the others I see on Instagram and Facebook? Good one. So a long time ago, I'll give you a short story. I tried to hire a trainer. I went to Gold's Gym here in LA, said, hey, I need the best trainer you have. I want as much info as I can get. I want the best money you can buy. They gave me this guy. He put me through a workout, awesome workout. I could not move my arms afterwards. It was arm day. And we had a conversation afterwards. I said, hey, you're great at making meal plans. You're clearly great at making workouts, but I have type 1 diabetes. He's like, oh, okay. What about it? And I was like, well, do you know anything about it? And he was like, I got to be honest with you, man. Like, I know my stuff when it comes to fitness and nutrition, but I have a very limited knowledge on diabetes. And I had this moment where I was like, oh, I realize now that I need to find a diabetic trainer who understands diabetes if I'm going to excel as a diabetic trying to work out. So to answer what makes this program different, this was a program built by a diabetic for diabetics only. To clarify, I don't let non-diabetics join. This program was specifically built for type 1 diabetics who want to stabilize their blood sugars during and after exercise. We got another question here. It says, my blood sugars are insane. Will this work? Nothing seems to work before. I actually did a live on this 2 days ago. And short answer is, if insulin brings your blood sugar down and sugar brings your blood sugar up, this formula works for you. I understand there are a lot of factors going into it, and it may look like your blood sugars are just impossible to control. Trust me, I've been there, but I want to make sure that you understand how confident I am that if insulin brings your blood sugar down, it does, and sugar brings your blood sugar up, hint, hint, if you have diabetes, it does, then this formula works for you. It's guaranteed to work. Yeah, I understand, a lot of people say, well, I've seen so many fluctuations, I just don't know if it's going to happen. And ultimately they come back to me usually a week or two later, and they're just like, Matt, how did that work so well? How did I stay in range the entire workout? That's never happened in my life before. One of my favorite moments is a client screenshotted his Dexcom clarity report, and he went from 50% in range overall to 75% in range overall in a week. In 1 week. Whew, I get the chills just thinking about that kind of stuff. It's amazing what can happen when you put your mind to it and when you have the right tools available. So essentially, you got two choices right now, right? And you have the choice to make because it's your life. You do whatever you want with it. And the two choices you have are, you can continue down the path that you've already been walking down, but you can't expect anything to change, right? Nothing will change if you don't want it to. If you are comfortable in the position you're in, if you're like, Matt, I got this, my blood sugars are perfect, well then awesome. Maybe you don't need this. But if you're like, Matt, my blood sugars suck, but I don't know what to do, and I don't know if I'm ready to join your program, well then I can't help you. I literally can't help you if you don't join the program, and nothing is going to change in your life if that's the choice you make. But on the other hand, if you choose to join, Understand this program has a 100% money back guarantee. In fact, you get more out of it than you would lose. There is literally no risk at all. For those of you who don't know, I haven't mentioned this a whole lot yet, but if you go through the program, implement the things that I tell you to, and listen, and you don't see a change in your life, and your blood sugars, and your confidence, any of that stuff, I give you 100% money back guarantee. And on top of that, you get to keep the physical products that I send to you, and all the bonuses, and all the swag. You get to keep all of it. So you actually gain more. It's like 110% money back guarantee. I'm literally giving you things on top of a money back guarantee because that's how confident I am that this works. There literally has been no one that's gone through this and has not had these results. It's incredible. Now I want to open it up to any Q&As we have here. Actually, you know what would be fun? Got like 4 minutes left. If we have anybody on here that is part of the beta group, let's see if we can let them on if they want to like request to be in it or something. Let's see if we can make that work. So if you're in one of the programs right now, let's see if anybody is. Feel free to request to be in the live, or if you were in a previous program, I guess. Let's see what else we got. Are you and everyday T1D friends? Yeah, Austin's awesome. He's a super cool guy. He's in New York right now. Super jealous I couldn't go. Actually, I'm wearing my New York shirt. So this is, I used to live there, and then there, and then there, and then there, and then I started off living there. I lived in 7 different places in 3 years when I was in New York. Whew, that was an adventure and a half. Anyways, okay, so take a swig of water before I get kicked off by Instagram because it's like been an hour, I think. If you are looking to 10x your life with diabetes, I love just flashing that framework at you guys. Like, wait, show it, no, what's the answer? If you guys are ready to 10x your life with diabetes, stabilize your blood sugars during and after exercise, and learn how to run your diabetes on autopilot, this is the program for you. Like I said, it is half price right now. World Diabetes Day. I reopened the beta launch. This is the only time that it will be available until the program is finished, at which time the price is going to be going up, and it will be less involvement with me. So if you want handheld guidance through the program at this lower rate, through the beta group, with our awesome community already in there, and the first module is already built out, so you don't even have to wait for it like everybody else had to wait who bought early. This is the program for you. I guarantee it will be the best decision you make, and it's super exciting. So shoot me a DM, and 20 best advice to keep, oh yeah, blood sugars in range at night. That's a tough one. Definitely one of the first steps you want to master, because keeping blood sugar in range overnight is automatically 1/3 of your day that you're staying in range. It's going to up your time in range. It's going to lower your A1C. Overnight blood sugars are super important. Mine usually hover between 80 and 110, I'd say. It's a pretty good average. A lot of guidance, actually. Bautista says she wants a lot of guidance. Yeah, no, guidance is my favorite part. Sometimes I give too much information and too much guidance. So if you're looking for that, this is the good time to join, because I will be walking through doing lives all week long, every week of the program. And oh, I forgot to mention on top of that, it's an 8-week program, right? This isn't even listed in our bonuses. I decided to add it today in celebration. We have an amazing world-class community of people who are in our membership. I am giving you 3 months of free access because I want to make sure that at the end of 8 weeks, 2 months, right, that you still have accountability. Because sometimes you don't, things in life come up. If you have to miss a week or 2 weeks as life gets hectic, don't worry about it. I got you covered. I'm giving you an extra month, a full month extra of coaching. So if you're like, Matt, I got too busy, I fell behind, don't worry about it. I'll still be there to help coach you through the rest of the program. That's what it's for. This is the hand-holding I'm talking about. I will be there through every step of the way, guiding you through from wherever you are at in your current journey with exercise and diabetes to the finishing point, running it on autopilot, staying stable and in range during all types of exercises, activities, and movements, making your life easier. That's my goal. So if you're interested, DM me, ask me any questions you have. And if you're like, you know what, Matt, I know I need this. This is the most incredible thing you've ever offered, because it is. It's super, super cool. You can head over right now to shred.ftfwarrior.com. Okay? SHRED.ftfwarrior.com. So jump over there It's only going to be open for the next 24 hours. And for people that don't believe we close our doors, we do. I got a lot of sad and angry emails last time, like, oh, I didn't know you were going to close the doors. I didn't know the timer on the bottom of the page was real. It's very real. When that timer hits 0, the page closes. And there will be no exemptions. People say, oh, I was sleeping. You should have joined before you went to sleep. So the doors will close. You've got just over 24 hours to jump in there and join our existing beta group, who are already so awesome. And we got our first call happening this week, first lesson module going live. I will be in there all of the time, guiding you through every step of the way. So is it for kids too? Great question. While I cannot directly work with people who are under the 18 years old, I work with parents of kids, if that makes sense. So I am, it's better that I work with the parents. That way the parents can guide their children through that step process. Now, one more thing I want to mention, I am not a doctor. I do not give out medical advice. Everything you take is a recommendation that I would do in my own life. However, I do work with your doctors. And in most cases, your doctors will be very, very happy about the choices that you make after you go through my program. So in that case, if you're like, Matt, I need to work with my doctor hands-on, cool. What you're going to do, take notes, take lessons, email your doctor, ask them the questions. I have never had a doctor disagree with me, ever. They are always on board. But if you want to double check with that, I recommend you loop your doctor in. It's good to have them on board as well. Yeah, in some cases, people don't have daily access to their doctors. You get daily access to me. That's how cool it is. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that have to drive very, very far for their endo appointments, their primary care, sometimes 3-4 hours of a drive, and they only get to do that, twice a year, 3 times a year. It's very expensive. I'm giving you direct access to me for 3 months, where you get to change, ask questions, make changes, and just make some serious progress. So it's a very exciting time to be. Very, very exciting program. It's a very exciting opportunity with it being a beta launch, because like I said, it is the cheapest it will be ever. It is the most hands-on it will be ever. And it's the most customizable that will be ever. And Goodyear, great question. What is the cost of the program? So with it being a beta launch program, with all of those, I never even, oh my goodness. I just realized I didn't even list half of the bonuses that we have in there. You know what? I'll list a couple of them, but essentially, you're getting my adapters, my framework, my formula. I'm just flying through this because I know Instagram's about to kick me off. Results coaching, caloric and macro calculators. You know exactly what you have to eat and when. The different types of workouts. I have a workout I'm making for you. We have a dietitian making your meal plan who is also living with type 1 diabetes. We have ebook downloads, and we have a quick start blueprint. You have the access to me. We have at-home fitness equipment that we're sending to you for days that you can't make it to the gym. We have a bunch of swag and cool stuff that I am not supposed to talk about yet because it's supposed to be a secret bonus, so I'm going to stop there. But some really cool stuff going to be showing up on your doorsteps. All of that and so much more. We're going for $497. Like I said, this program price is going to be doubling after it is no longer a beta. So this is your one chance to grab this price. For anybody who missed the launch, we had a week and a half ago. For World Diabetes Day, we reopened the beta pricing. You get access to that beta group. And to top it off, I'm going to give lifetime access to everybody who buys it. Yeah. So once you get in, access for life. You can revisit any of the modules at any time in the future for as long as you live. How's that sound? Super cool, right? So this is the one chance you get, and I highly recommend you take it. It's going to be the best decision that you could possibly make. I'm losing my voice because I'm getting so excited. Oh my goodness. All right, anyways, for everybody interested, send me a DM if you have questions. Even if you're like, Matt, I don't know if I can afford this, or Matt, I don't know if it'll work for me, or Matt, what makes it different, right? Send me a DM. Let's have a chat. I'm very curious to know your thoughts on this process. With it being a beta launch, I highly value all of your feedback, and I'm very grateful for it. So shoot me a DM with any questions, comments, or concerns. Or if you're like, Matt, I'm ready to buy this thing. I know I need this in my life. It will change everything that I see diabetes with, because it will. Head over to shred.ftfwarrior.com or send me a DM or a personal message, and I will give you that link. So that being said, Instagram is now kicking me off of the live. So I keep doing this, and I love it. We have been live for 1 hour. You guys are awesome. Have a great night, and keep up the fight.